contributions, contributions from every city that pretty much participates, or is it, I mean, like you're asking from the city of Pearsall this amount, so is that the amount that you would ask from other cities, or?
No, it's just-
I'm new to this, I don't.
No, it's just, we're only asking this amount from this city, and then everybody else that comes to our event, they have to pay an entry fee. So we're not seeking funding from any other governmental entity. We have requested, funds from Frio County in the past, but, we've kinda gotten away from that. It's like pushing a rock uphill, so we.
And I've seen the reports that they provide for us, and it's very detailed on
How many years have we been, contributing to that?
Since 2017.
They've done, I think it's five or six different.
yeah.
Yes.
And it is, y'all, it's co-ed, and my boys were involved in that, it's really, some of these players, pretty good shooters, pretty good shooters, it's pretty impressive.
To ring our own bell, we have, there's a national competition where, 4-H members get to compete at the shooting event in Nebraska, and that's actually going on right now as we speak. And consistently, Frio County has a youth that is good enough to make that team, but it's not necessarily on shooting ability alone. It's actually an overall process. They have to have, you have to be great academically and then involved in other things. So it's not just narrowly tailored to shooting ability. But my son was on it, and we've had one on there last year. So Frio County does well in this industry, and we raise youth to be good leaders.
So we'll see you again before we finalize the budget, but we're looking at somewhere around $6,500.
Mr. Beaver, I have a question. How big is our student group here? Because I'd like to help as far as spreading the word in our school system to get you more participants in Frio County. Me being an administrator, I can help get flyers
Sure.
out, help you kind of boost our numbers if we're needing that. I'd be interested in helping.
Sure. Was there a question?
What's our population as far as participants in Frio County?
No, well, there's no limit. We currently have, Frio County is, it's in single digits, but we're not limited to Frio County. We also have some from other counties that are able to join our club, so to speak. But, no, Ms. Cherie over at the Extension Office probably can explain it to you better about how.
Who's that contact?
Ms. Cherie Almond
Oh,
at
okay,
the
yes,
Extension
yes, yes.
Office. She's
Okay.
a little bit more articulate than I am, and kind of
Okay.
give you the
I will do
best
that.
way to,
Thank
yeah,
you.
to recruit. I mean, I mean, and there's, you know, it's slightly intimidating, but we certainly don't want it to be, because we start everybody, I mean, safety is always, in any sport, any event, is the primary concern. So we start them out on BB guns and little guys, and actually the younger the better, because at that point you can train them, you know, the right way, so to speak, and we welcome everybody, you know.
Okay.
It's a co-ed, like Mr. Briscoe was saying, and actually one of the better females is presently on our team, so we're very proud of her.
Okay.
She doesn't claim us, but we're proud of her.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Yes?
Yes, I would like to ask, Mr. Rendon, do you think this is something that the chamber could probably help them and promote? And
Oh, yes, definitely, yes, anything
Yeah.
even,
That's a good idea.
days, all of
Yeah.
that is something
Like to
that
see y'all
we
get together.
anticipate
Yeah.
assisting, yes,
Thank you.
That would be good.
yes.
Council, any other questions for Mr. Beaver? All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Mr. Beaver. Next, Frio Pioneer Jail Museum. Doc. Come on up. Y'all wanna join the podium together, you're welcome to.
I'll let Doc speak, because he speaks louder than I do. I'll just smile at you, Bill.
Okay, all right, we'll take that. We'll take that. Welcome.
Good evening, and appreciate the invitation, council, Mr. Briscoe, and Ms. Ray. As we've presented the last couple of years, basically our budget is centered around Pioneer Day needs, and our day-to-day needs are kind of set aside. The museum is unique in the sense of the state laws involving the hot tax. We're one of those few things that fall into that category of being able to help without too many strings attached in that regard. I'm putting that simply. But Basically, we look to have the Pioneer Day continue on. We had a very nice event, back in March, and, it turned out real well. And we had a beautiful day, beautiful turnout, and everything just, transpired wonderful. Appreciate everybody's help.
I saw y'all had a lot more vendors this year.
It was just a great day,
Yeah.
just a great
It
day,
seems like it's getting bigger and bigger.
bit by bit.
Doc, how do you guys get funded? I mean, with no buildings, how does that work?
Basically, we have been self-generating for a while, and then, we've gotten a couple of, years' help from y'all. We're minus the check, I think, somewhere, but anyway, that's in the works. But basically, we have been self-funded for a lot of years. And
You charge lease to the church, right? You get to, does that come with the museum?
we have a rental agreement with the Shepherd's Flock, and that, basically, let's backtrack. We inherited the Presbyterian Church in the house next door years ago from the Presbyterian group as they folded and disbanded. And so we picked up that by default. And so, the Nietos have leased it from us, and it's not quite that money-making ordeal, but, and in fact, one of the things that we're gonna be looking at very shortly, there's a lot of repairs that are gonna have to be done on the building. We're gonna start a donation campaign to help with that.
Gotcha.
Okay, it hasn't quite kicked off yet. We're looking tomorrow to meet with the contractor and see what are we gonna have to do and how much is it gonna be. We've got several things going on.
And as you know, Ben, that church and that old jail are the only two historical buildings left and actually have historical markers.
Wow.
They were both built in 1884.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Wow.
it's been quite a chore to try to keep both of them up lately.
I expect so. Yes, 1884. It wasn't-
1884.
That was before I was born. Not much, but a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
But basically, we're working around the request for $7,500 for the.
And that, what was your request last year? 75? Council?
Yes. I got it.
So, I mean, it's a great little fun festival, and you guys work really hard to make that happen, and it is, two beautiful buildings, and, the Old West history of this community is great, triumph there, so. Council, if you have any questions, we'll expect to see that line item in our budget.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming. Do you have any other questions further than you? Thank you, Don. Thank you.
This was we should have been 27, but everybody was closed down for the COVID, and so this was our 25th year.
25th.
Yes, doing this festival,
Wow.
and so it's grown a
Well,
little.
thank you guys for doing that, so.
Well, we have to
Yes.
give a big thank you to Barbara Beaver.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's
She
spearheaded
originated
this years
it.
ago.
Was that?
Barbara
Barbara
Beaver.
Beaver.
I said it.
Barbara Beaver.
Oh.
Gus Beaver's wife.
Wow, okay.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, her health is getting where she can't participate as much as she wanted to.
And her husband Charles was a city secretary here.
Really?
When we moved here in 1957, he was the city
Really,
secretary.
Gus?
Yes, he was.
Was it really?
He
Impressive.
come in here a while.
All right, thank you very much. With that, we have also on the list Motormouth. I don't see him there yet.
Let me just speak to that, Council. He,
Council?
all right, Council.
Fred, you have the floor.
Yeah, Motormouth could not make he couldn't make, but he will be here not the next meeting, the meeting after that. But what I did want to share with the council is, this is the third year of our agreement. This coming year will be the third year of our agreement. And so part of that is, we funded this is the second year, we funded for $75,000 on that agreement, on a 3-year agreement. This coming year, this is what we're talking about this budget year, is the request, or actually what's in the contract is $150,000. Now, with that, this will be the last year that contract will be up. So part of what we need to consider moving forward is what we wanna do after this year. Because if it's something that we wanna continue, something maybe with a private business like Motor Mouth, or we wanna consider a nonprofit like the Chamber or anybody else, it would be time to start having those discussions after this year. But I didn't wanna make the council aware of
Don't we
that.
take bids for that?
It is in the budget. Sorry?
Don't we take bids for that,
You could do one of two things, the city attorney hopefully is on the call. But if you work with a nonprofit like the Chamber, my understanding is you do not have to do that, a Chamber, or any other nonprofit organization for that matter. But if you wanna go out and work with a private business, such as like Motor Mouth, then yes, you have to go out and solicit for somebody to help out with these events. We've been doing the Hispanic Heritage Festival, I think now this will be our 5th, and then next year will be our 6th, yes. So anyway, it's been 6 years, but this will be the biggest allocation we've had yet. We've never had an allocation this big for this event, so just wanna make sure to point that out. The other,
Okay, all right, council.
So did he push forward any plans as far as being a bigger budget? Is there, are we
it's a
looking
three-year,
at?
it's a 3-year contract, sir. There's a contract that's on file that the city agreed to.
We agreed to.
City agreed to 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Right,
what-
I understand that, but with this new, this final, amount that's going out, for being in the budget, has he sent us any plans as far as what he's doing differently?
He is not, and simply because I think part of it is we don't, from my standpoint, I don't know I think his biggest percentage of where he uses that budget is on the entertainment, the music. And so my assumption is he's gonna use that same percentage, only having, maybe musicians that cost a little more, if you will. But to answer your question, he has not provided me those details. We're just now getting to this year's, the entertainment for this year, but we do anticipate, I would anticipate that when we meet with him, he's gonna give you a budget of what he plans on spending for entertainment and other things that he wants to do.
But prior years was 75,000, and that was a 2-day event, right? And we had other people asking us for 75,000 for a 1-day event, correct?
Right.
Okay. Wanted to point that out there.
Yes, it is a 2-day event. I believe he's gonna stick to the 2-day event. I think he wants to stick to the same venue, but I don't have dollar amounts of what he wants to do with $150,000.
Yeah, he already put it out there on Facebook as to where he's gonna have, where we're gonna have it at, so.
Well, he put this year's.
Yeah.
Which
So again,
we're
many
talking
of
about.
us-
About next year? Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Many of us have asked for transparency on a lot of these agents, these organizations. So, I think that's what we need to focus on, right? We need to see where is the funding going to, for what? Because we will be asked that $1 million question.
Yep.
Where's the?
$150,000.
And y'all, he was invited, I don't know why he's not here, but I mean, this is preliminary we're not approving, it's just get ready. So all these questions are valid, and of course, we're gonna have all that information, or else we're not gonna approve it unless we know who's he gonna try to attract for that much money, where it's gonna be and that kind of thing. So it's just really preliminary, and just get ready, these are the numbers.
Every event that we've had so far, Crystal has files on every expense, on the expenses we've had for every one of these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a little bit, it's gonna be a bit more funding, so.
Yeah. It is
I mean,
more-
more questions.
It is more money, you're absolutely right. And speaking of that, Mayor, can I go ahead and speak to the last?
Yeah, okay, we're moving on to item 5, City of Pearsall, Fred.
Part of that, speaking to that, the hotel occupancy tax, if you look at it, Mayor and Council, it includes the portion for the chamber, it includes these events, we took into consideration. And you'll see a line item in there of $750,000. That $750,000 is a match for a grant. that we're applying for, which is the Parks grant. And that would be our match that we would, support through the hotel fund. So I wanna make sure the council's aware of that. Now, in doing that, and the more we spend out, we have a balance in the hotel fund, we have a balance, so, I don't want y'all to think that we don't have any money to support this, we do have a balance for it in the hotel fund. But that won't diminish it, but it will reduce our balance if we do get funding and we have to start paying out for that match. So I think the grants we're looking for one of $750,000 this coming year as well. We did not get the grant this year, we had it budgeted last year, it did not get funded, consequently, there was no reason for us to. But we have made improvements, we have done some things, primarily at the Civic Center. If you haven't been out there, please take a look. I drove by this morning, and they've made some improvements to the signage. We also wanna make improvements to drainage out there. Part of what we've done at the Civic Center, what we're trying to do is improve the parking. That's one of the things we're working on, amongst many, but that's one. But before you address the parking, you have to, at the best, try to address the drainage, because then we're gonna have, Hector's probably more qualified than I am to speak to this, but we would probably be doing a disservice if we didn't, address the drainage before we address the parking. So we do wanna lay some asphalt out there, make it a little bit better. Right now, you don't have a lot of parking space other than the concrete, slab that you have out there. We've put the signage looks really good. The memorial, if you will, that we did I think it looks really nice. I drove by this morning, and it looks a lot better. We put some irrigation out there. I think they have a grass out there now. So if you get a chance to go by, we wanna maintain the building. We wanna keep it to where it's, it looks decent and presentable. And just add things as we can. And then any other facility that we own, the reason we try to keep $75,000 to $100,000 from every hotel budget, because we do wanna continue to make those improvements to our buildings. And so I wanted to make sure and convey that information to the council is that's what we normally do. We do pay some of our staff who have to work, maintain the building. We do pay them out of the hotel fund, and there's some other expenses out there. We have to pay for hotel audits that we do on the hotels from there. We're also paying some other consultants through hotel tax. So I just wanna make sure that the council's aware that there's other expenses other than just events but we do have a fund balance, and we're okay.
And that's what this is all about, is just keeping you guys aware. Again, we were hopeful that we get to spend that $725,000 last year to update our sports center out there, but it didn't happen, but we're still working on it. We're trying to get something going. What do you got, Councilwoman?
With that being said, and I don't know if everybody else agrees, but with that being said, because we are in the boat that we're in right now, and we're not having festivals, we're not that, can we agree to have so many festivals, just in case the chamber doesn't come through, or whoever doesn't come through, so we avoid the circumstances that we're in right now?
Now's the time, if you want to make some adjustment now and through the budget process is the time. Keep in mind again that, like anything else, the more you spend, you eventually will liquidate the account, which we don't want to do. We're okay again if we get assume we get the grant, right? We have to put down $750,000. You're asking for another $150,000, which is $900,000. That's almost $1 million out of a fund that we generate revenues about $330,000 a year. Again, we have that fund balance, is why we're able to tap into it. But what I'm getting at is the more you spend on events, things of that sort, you start bringing down that fund balance. So to your point, yes, you can request additional events with the understanding that you are completing that fund balance.
Well, I'm just saying, because we come into this problem like we are now, and then scrambling around, trying to get money to have things, we're relying on an organization that,
Yeah, I get it.
we get the phone calls and then we come up here and everybody say, oh, we did this, we have to, we don't use it, that's fine, they come up with something fine, we shouldn't be relying on.
We do need to get a commitment from the council and even, the chamber, whoever, to say, hey, we can commit to doing an event. And some sort of commitment that we all can agree to that, hey, we are able to do this with the dollars that are on hand, right? So if the chamber says, hey, we can host an event, well, you know, we're gonna host a, you know, I don't wanna speak for them, but if they say, we think we have the dollars to host an event for Fourth of July, or then, you know, right now is the time, now and through the budget process is the time to make sure that we address that.
The same as it's already the second year in a row that we're going through this, and it's.
And we've had these talks before, so that's why we need to really, yeah, and do our homework and say, are we gonna go through for this year for these events and not discuss them at the last minute?
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose of it. So